You guys thought I was just done with one premium deck list yesterday? Boys, let me tell you something. I am premium, alright? I have all the premium deck lists. And yesterday's deck list was just one. It was just one deck list. It wasn't meme enough. We gotta bring the meme to the next level, right? I'm ready for this. I got this, whatever this is, Urban Apparel, the Drip Nation, things like that. But today, we're gonna take meme to the 111%. Now, if you guys know the reference, let me know in the comments below. But we all know what premium is about, right? It's about locks, loop, and Gyze. All right, locks, loops, and Gyze. So let's just do that, right? We got the Gyze, we have the loops, and we got the locks. Now, I actually wasn't able to put the loop in this deck because, you know, the Gzone when you play a Gyze deck is pretty hard to put in. So sorry, Glendios, sorry the Omega loop, but you can think about it in spirit. You can use it as like a force marker, you know, or like a Gzone cover or something like that. So that gives you the excuse, right? So let's start off with this deck. What is this deck about? This deck is Glendios Gyze. All right, Glendios Gyze. So what do? So you start off as Gyze, right? You have Neon Gyze, and your opponent's like, oh man, that's crazy. He's Gyze. That must mean I must rush him, right? But then suddenly you have a surprise Glendios come out and like, oh no, I lose. Or otherwise they look at your deck and they go, okay, Gyze, I have to rush him. But then you're Link Joker. So if they rush you, you will lock their entire field and their brain will explode, right? They just don't know how to handle it. So let's like get started with the deck list and see what it's on about. So firstly, we have that combo that I explained yesterday. The thing that is very important premium in my opinion is Gravity Collapse Dragon and Freeze Ray. And Freeze Ray is the guy you're going to stay on for most of the time, all right? He's 10k. 10ks offer some very interesting advantages in this game because you can access things like Maju. But overall, Freeze Ray will be the thing you stay on. It will help you lock things. And then when you combine with the Blarl, I still can't say this name, but Baruar, you'll be able to Omega lock things, because just so, in case you guys didn't know the effect of Baruar, you can, it just means your opponent cannot unlock things in their end phase, or flip, they can't flip things in their end phase, right? So they can't countercharge, and even new cards that are face down can't turn face up. So overall, this is just a great card. We run 4 of this instead of 3, because this is actually a key card. All right, we have 2 Glendios. This is our secondary win con. We still run Chaos Breaker because we're running that Gravity Collapse Dragon, and it's just a nice out against things that are super annoying, running Excel circles and all that. This will basically stomp their plays, right? Stomp their plays into the ground, and then just kind of win the game from there. But this is kind of matchup dependent. We still run 3 just because we want to be able to hit it. And then lastly, we have this weird card. This is an old card. It is Lady Gunner. And basically what she does is that when she comes into play on the Vanguard or rear guard circle, you lock another rear guard. So you can't lock this one. You lock it, and then you lock your opponent's cards. So just straight up lock. Funnily enough, Link Joker doesn't really have that many easy straight up targeted locks. So this is very nice. But also this can be salvaged by Madu if you really want to, because we do run 1 Madu. Spoilers. And when you're set up, right? When you got your ultimate stride cost set up and your freeze rate, bam, you can Madu, get this back, use it again to just get like another lock and kind of snipe things, right? Your grade 2, we have Zirconium. Zirconium is just really nice. You know, you get a draw, you get a crit, but you know, the crit is kind of not that great here. I guess it offers some kind of pressure, but yeah, gives them damage. But yeah, no, has a draw, but if they lock the front row, put their card locked in the front row, that's even better because they have a front row lock. So Zirconium just nice. Has some interesting synergy with Photon, because if they already have things somewhere else, pop this down, then you combo with Photon and you can lock their front row. But we only run 2 Photon because Photon is like just not really that required. Quality Maker basically turns into 1 of everything else and any other grade 1, which is basically just going to be Zinc, but sometimes the Baruar works good as well because you can chain Baruars, right? And then lastly, we got this guy. Now, we haven't seen this card in a while. This is an old card. Not that many play it. This is Heavy Material Dragon. Now, the interesting thing about this card is that it's one of the only few cards that allows you to draw 2. Right? So you can filter out your hand. The effect is just counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, and then lock another regard. And then you just draw 2. It comes into play. It's a come into play effect. And we do have a lot of fodder that we want to get rid of. We do run more draw triggers. We do run the Dirty Gorilla. So there's a lot of 5k things that we don't like and we want to get rid of. So it's a nice thing to have. If you draw it, it's nice. But overall, the deck itself now has slightly more draw, just because Zirconium can draw. And then, yeah, it's pretty much Chaos Breaker itself can draw. And yeah, pretty good. Now, at grade 1s, we run 4 Barrage, just because it's nice. We have a Light Elemental, because 15k defensives in Gyze is just good. And it's also got an 8k base, so against 7ks, it's nice. Zinx, again, great card. Countercharge 2. You're basically here for the Soul Charge 2. Now we run this Gorilla, alright? Why do we run this Gorilla? This is like an old kind of tech. Now, it damage denies because it's 6k. It also becomes 11k when it gets attacked. So that's pretty good, because currently there's not that many grade 2s that hit that 11k number still. So if they wanna bash you, they still have to commit a boost. And committing cards from the hand means you can lock their stuff, right? So this is like a really nice defensive card. You always want to ride it. The unfortunate thing is that it's only a 5k now, so it's a 5k defensive, which is terrible. So that kind of puts it against it. But I still think like it's kind of okay in this kind of scenario where you really want to be defensive, play really defensively, and make them commit the cards to be able to deal with you. Otherwise it's useless. After that one turn play, it's useless. So unlucky, right? And then our trigger lineup is kind of strange as well. We have like 7 draws and 5 crit. You want the crit just because of the 15k shield. We run all draws just because trigger power doesn't matter in this when you're running Gyze. This has a soul in effect, which is nice, right? Getting more soul is good, and that's what it's all about. You might want to change the trigger lineup. I think you can run like 6-6 instead of 7 draw, because maybe I think you probably have enough draw here. And then in the Gzone category, we have a bunch. It's like a pack Gzone, all right? We got 5 Zeroth Dragons, and then we don't run much G Guardians just because, again, Link Joker G Guardians are kind of bad. I don't like them, but some have some uses, right? Your Destiny Dealer, well, Destiny Guardian, sorry, can now pop things in your opponent's battle phase of chaos. So there's that synergy. It's also a big shield. It's a 25k shield, so it's bigger than your heal trigger, which might come up. And then go to Lacus Carina in case that you want to lock their back row. And the nice thing about Lacus Carina is that it works with Barrel, right? So you lock the 3 back row and they don't unflip. So that's nice. Otherwise, we've got our Chaos Universe just to get that nice, sweet front row lock from hand. But at the same time also is that this is a Chaos. So if you're on Freeze Ray, you still have a Chaos name. So you can stride into this for the Chaos name in rare situations. And then we have our Glue Ball, Old Glue Ball for the Mass Lock. This is your main card to Mass Lock with. And then we have our Avalanche, which is just that nice front row, well just the lock 2, right? Quick lock 2, and basically just like the front row lock. And then we run like 2 weird cards. So we've got Rain Element Maju. So if you're on a 10k Vanguard, or if your hard card is base 10k power, you may salvage a grade 3 from your hand. This basically lets you salvage or commit a grade 3 and get it immediately back, but it can, like, you can target specific grade 3s that you want back. So if you discard a crit trigger, get another grade 3 to set you up for like for your next turn plays, or your ultimate stride, or just that gunner again, just to get that extra lock. And then we have this card. So this is Snow Element Barancha. Parancha. It's an interesting effect, okay? It does require you to be 10k base power, or just if your hard card it has to be 10k or lower. And its first effect is that you can counterblast 1, you draw a card, which is good, and then this unit gets 5k, which is not that good. But getting a nice draw is fine. But the second effect is very interesting. It's when this unit attacks a Vanguard and hits, if your hard card is 10k or lower, you may salvage a heal from your drop zone. So why do you want the heal? Well, it's a 20k shield, right? Unlucky, your shield, your G Guardians aren't very good, but 20k shield is still always nice. And this kind of lets you do 2 things, right? Remember, it's your opponent either gets a damage, which should be rare, right? Gyze decks usually want to damage deny, which you can. And this will either let them give them a damage, which will kind of set you up for that 5 burn from Gyze. And at the same time, you grab a heal. So that's extra defensive power. So that trade is acceptable. At the same time, they can guard this, and you get a free triple drive off, which is also good. So this is basically just Zugzwang for your opponent. No really good plays. unless that one damage turns into like infinite damage for you, which is then you got to be careful. Then you probably should stick on a freeze ray and just swing like a champ, right? But apart from that, that is pretty much the deck. You can run Big Crunch, but there's just no space for it. There's actually no space for it. You can take out some cards, but these cards are all very good. You can take out G-Guardians, but, you know, that's... Like, Big Crunch works because you immediately have access to it because Neon Gyze is a face-up card, and that doesn't require, like, a GBX. It just requires, like, face-up cards in the damage zone. Not the damage, G-Zone. So, it works well with that, but it's like it's a lock one column, well, a mega lock a column. So, that's kind of nice, but there's really just no space. There's no space. Like... That's just the unfortunate thing. This deck really has no space. So what is the ideal setup for this? Is you just want to triangle lock your opponent or lock as much as possible. You lock it. You kind of then play Balaral to like kind of get that fake Omega lock. The turn before you ultimate stride. So let's say you have four Zeroth Guardians face up, right? And you go, I just need one trigger to be able to ultimate stride, and probably I'll trigger it this turn, right? Yeah, just do the math. So you lock as much as you can, you do this, next turn your opponent cannot unflip, and you do get the trigger right. Next turn you ultimate stride into Gyze, and then his field is locked. And there's nothing he can do with a locked field, right? Like if his whole field is locked, he can only swing his Vanguard, and that is basically just confirmed 5 damage. He can't even Phantom Blast or Abyss to cuck you out of the game, because he can't sacrifice anything, right? The worst thing you can do is try to stack heaps of power in their Vanguard, but without rearguard circles, that is pretty hard, right? Like your nemesis, like Dimension Police or something like that, we can get really big field, like big power in their Vanguard. It might be tough. It might be tough, you know. And even if they do, right, you still have nulls, you still have like heals and crits and things like that to try and save you. And you're on a 30k base, so it's not totally donezo. And then you deal the 5 damage. The Glendios is the backup, right? Is they kind of just give you the damage. They have a full field that is just like there because they've been spamming their hand, and they go, okay, let me just glue ball you, right? Glue ball you, lock your whole field, Bilal, and then Glendios, Omega Loop, right Omega Loop, right? Boom, that's a GG. Unless they have ways to like just unlock their stuff, like the G guard on flip or the or just, well, if their full field is locked, then unlucky, right? They can't use the crit on flips. But if they're Excel Circle, then they can. But otherwise, yeah, if you know your matchups, you know you're going into a deck, then just you go the Gyze route. You go the Gyze route, okay? So yeah, this is like a fun deck. Don't get me wrong. This is not gonna win much tournaments, I don't think. Again, you have the problems of against good decks, you probably just get cucked because your deck power itself is just not crazy. Although you do have a loop, it's a fake loop, right? It's a fake loop, but you can beat loops, but the power level of a lot of other decks are just not good. You will probably have fun. This is a fun deck. It's a fun meme deck, and this is what Vanguard is all about, right? It's not about the power, right? It's about the meme. I'm pretty sure if I give a lot of players the option to play a strong meta deck or a funny meme deck to like a locals or whatever, they will definitely take the meme deck. They're gonna, dude, I'm taking the Timmy deck all the time, right? Who cares about playing Gurgrit? Who cares about playing Bermuda? Who cares about playing Genesis, you know? I'm gonna play meme Glendios. I'm gonna play meme Gyze. I'm gonna play, this is GG, all right? Glendios Gyze, all right? So yeah, 100% memes, and that's it, all right? Will there be more? Stay tuned, boys. Stay tuned. But this is it for today. This is all the premium, and I will see you next time. All right? Peace.